Morning Joe is back to being horrendous. Remember when we had that, like, 1 week where suddenly he was like, FDR's awesome, bro. I love social democracy. What's up? He did that for 1 week, and then he immediately went back to normal corporatist asshole Morning Joe. So here he is now talking about foreign policy. Look at what he's going to try to convince Biden to do.
Before 2011, I kept asking the question, when are we going to bring the troops home? After that, after the rise of ISIS, it became pretty evident that there are just some countries where, if we are going to be the indispensable power on this planet, if we want to stop terrorist attacks from hitting our allies and the United States, the 2,500 troops, 5,000 American troops as part of a larger international peacekeeping force, that's an insurance policy against future 9/11s. I hope that Joe Biden, and I hope that America's leaders, Republican and Democratic alike, will start framing this in the way that you were explaining it. And I wish that we would have had a leader that could have explained what America was doing, what special ops forces were doing in Syria, when we were not only protecting the Kurds, but pushing back against the Syrians and the Russians.
No, absolutely. I really dislike the phrase forever wars because it's pejorative. It's not really accurate. You know, forever presence or open-ended presence is okay. And as you rightly say, we've had it for 70, 75 years in parts of Europe, in parts of Asia. And guess what? We've kept the peace. And we've kept the peace at a modest price. And I think we're not going to keep the peace in Afghanistan. There's no peace to keep. But we can maintain an authority there that controls many of the cities. And while it's imperfect, it's far preferable to the alternative. People seem to forget that that 9/11 was carried out by people who were trained in Afghanistan. So there's a history here. So again, yes, it's easy to pull your troops out, and in the short run, we'll quote unquote save money and the like. But we shouldn't kid ourselves. We are not immune to developments there, and we will once again pay a longer-term price for any shorter-term gain. So again, I'm hoping the Biden administration just sees it through.
And we can, just as you were saying, and then we have to go back in,
right? Just
like Iraq.
We don't have to go back in. Look at the way they frame these discussions. The way they frame these discussions is with the premise that everybody already buys into is we're the world's sole superpower, we're the imperialist nation, we're the indispensable nation, we're the world policeman. So if something happens somewhere that's bad, we need to go there and make sure we get a handle on the situation. That's such a naive kindergarten view of what they think the role of America is. They think we just genuinely care for all these countries, bro, and we're trying to maintain peace and security and order. We don't even have peace and security and order in Flint, Michigan. They don't even have clean water. Do we really care about everybody's well-being when we can't even get our own people clean water? Is this some sort of joke? But I'm supposed to believe you care deeply about the people in Kandahar. Fuck out of here. What are the real reasons? What are the real reasons you're there? It's not as simple as, who, us, bro? We're good guys. And we're going to go do good guy things, bro. That's what we do. Is that how any imperialist nation worked throughout history? That everybody was just, you know, when the Persian Empire was the leading empire in the world, or when there was various Chinese empires. Is that what they were doing? We're going to help other places. We have the best of intentions. No, these are the pretty little lies that they tell themselves to make them think like, we're the good guys. By definition, don't ever question our motives or our intent. Well, I'm questioning your motives and I'm questioning your intent. Because guess what? As Smedley Butler said, a lot of people make a lot of money from war. War is a racket. Or Dwight Eisenhower. There's the military-industrial complex. That he warned of the military-industrial complex. Beware the military-industrial complex. Because there's a perverse incentive to keep war going. Now, is that the only reason they do it? No. I do think they buy into the propaganda of, like, we're the good guys and we need to do this stuff. But how much evidence do you need that that's nonsense? How much evidence do you need? Guys, in Afghanistan, do you know we allied ourselves with warlords? And these warlords had child sex slaves? And then when our soldiers blew the whistle on that, our soldiers were muzzled and discharged. Hey, shut up about the fact that our allies fuck kids. If the whole idea of us being there is to bring security and order, and we're allying with the people who are fucking kids, I don't think we're bringing about order. I don't think that's what we're doing at all. In fact, I think it has a lot more to do with the military-industrial complex, with the no-bid contracts and a lot of people getting wealthy off of it. In Iraq, when it's oil. In Afghanistan, it's perhaps opium and trillions of dollars worth of mineral wealth and the geopolitical chessboard where we want to maintain a strategic advantage over Russia and China. There's a lot more that goes into it. But they buy into this notion of like, we got to do it because like we're the good guys. I love... People overuse Orwellian, but this is Orwellian. He says, I dislike the phrase forever wars. I like to think of it as forever presence or open-ended presence. Let me put my positive spin on the thing that is objectively shitty. War's going on forever, and he's like, it's a good thing because we just have a presence. It's just a presence. It's just an open-ended presence. That's it. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that is our infrastructure gets a grade of D+, and you care more about the infrastructure in Kabul than you do in Cleveland. Okay, that's just one of many, many, many problems. And also, why do you think we have a right to do these things? Because the original reasons that were given for Afghanistan and Iraq, okay, it's over, son. It's done. You told me you got to get Saddam Hussein. He's been dead for a long time. You told me you got to get Osama bin Laden. He's been dead for a long time. You told me we got to get Al-Qaeda because Al-Qaeda is being hidden by the Taliban. Well, guess what? According to our own intelligence agencies, as of a decade ago, there were a couple hundred or fewer Al-Qaeda operatives left in Afghanistan. So what are you doing? Declare victory and come home. See, that's how you know it's all bullshit, is because now they're at the point where they don't even try to give you a good story. They don't even try to give you, here's what we're doing, here's how much money it's going to cost, here's what the end goal is. They don't tell you any of that stuff. There is no end goal. They're admitting, let's just stay there forever. And then they have the nerve to say, well, it's preferable to the alternative. Why? Why? Why is it preferable to the alternative? Because if we leave, then there's going to be fighting and stuff. People are going to get hurt. As opposed to now? As opposed to now. Where there's fighting and stuff, and people get hurt, and we're there, and our own people do too, and we add to the net suffering. Like when we bombed a hospital and killed civilians. Even if it gets worse when we leave. What does that have to do with us? We have no right to even be in there in the first place. You want to help them and like, give them some resources to prop up the secular government and hope that they can withstand the Taliban. Yeah, okay, fine, whatever. But the idea that we just stay there permanently, and they had the nerve to say, remember 9/11? 9/11 was bad, and like, Afghanistan had a lot to do with it. Remind me again who the 9/11 hijackers were. They were Saudi Arabian. Remind me again what Saudi Arabia is. Oh, they're one of our top allies. Remind me again, what's going on with them now? Oh, that's right. We're arming them, we're funding them, and they're doing a genocide in Yemen. They also happen to spread an extremist version of Islam all around the globe. And again, we arm them and fund them. Perhaps, if you want to make sure there's not another Al-Qaeda attack or ISIS attack, you stop funding this radical ideology. You stop funding, for example, jihadists on the ground in Syria. Maybe you do that. Maybe you do that. Not like, let's permanently occupy Afghanistan forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. It's amazing how easy it is to dupe these idiots. And now they're, willing participants in disgusting propaganda. And think about how disconnected this is from the American people and what they want. As of like 5 years ago, the war in Afghanistan was already more unpopular than the war in Vietnam at its height. Think about that. Think about that. Vietnam was wildly unpopular. Afghanistan was less popular. So they're talking about it as, well, this is obvious that we need to do this stuff. Nobody in America agrees. The overwhelming majority say, you're wrong, bring the troops home, let's spend our own money here. We have a country without universal health care in the middle of a pandemic, and you want to keep spending billions of dollars policing Kabul and Kandahar. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. See, this is why we need more direct democracy, because if people voted on this, everybody would say, let's get the fuck out. Conservative, liberal, doesn't matter. Everybody would be like, let's go. What are we doing? So, I mean, this is the worst. Morning Joe is horrendous. And that 1 week where he was pretending to be social democratic was, it was a diamond in the rough, but everything else is rough, to say the least.